wanted to read quickly from this part from Ananda Vrindavan Champu, which gives everything a very tasteful experience. And then, time permitting, I actually wanted to bring in some of the teachings of Prahlad Maharaj, because Nrsimha Chaturdashi is actually coming up. And Prahlad's teachings about friends and enemies so much applies to this particular topic. So we'll see how much time we have. But that's the goal. The favorite part I have about giving a class is that I get to prepare. It's like makes me go deeper into the subject and to think about it more deeply. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunjabi Hari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunjabi Hari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivadit Hari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivadit Hari. Yasodhanandana Prashajanaranjana Yasodhanandana Prashajanaranjana Yamuna Tera Panachari Yamuna Tera Vanachari Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Chila Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Guru Dev Guru Dev Guru Dev Jaya Jaya Guru Dev. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Papagacharya Stotara Satoshi Shimad. His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. ISKCON founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Papagacharya Stotara Satoshi Shimad. His Divine Grace Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada ki jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrindi ki jai. Nam Acharya Sridas Thakur ki jai. Prem se kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda. Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhakti Vrindi ki jai. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopanath Shama Kunjanata Kun Giri Govardhan ki jai. Shri Vrindamana Dham ki jai. Mathura Dham ki jai. Mayapur Dham ki jai. Navadvip Dham ki jai. Yamuna Mai ki jai. Ganga Mai ki jai. Shrimati Tulasi Devi ki jai. Samaveda Bhakti Vrindi ki jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Shri Guru and Gauranga. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Stay Bhutale. Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Namini. Namaste Saraswati Devi. Gauranga Charin Nirvishesha Srimati Vashtashtha. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Tasyanuja Prataro Sto Kanka. Excuse me. Nyagrodha Dakayadaha Avyadavanam Atikuda Partu Nivesha Karinaha Tasyanuja Baratosto Kankaniya Grodayakalaha Abdayatavanam Atikuda Partu Nirvesha Karinaha. Devotees, number 40, 1044 40. And the, okay, ready? Tasanuja Paratos thou. Kankaniya Grodayakaya. Abjabjatavanamati Kruda. Partunivesha Karuga. Nuga Paratos thou. Kataniya Grodayakaya. Abdadavamati Kruda. Patu Nirvesha Karina. Atanuja Paratosto. Saganya Grodakakaya. Abdajavamati Kuda. Patu Nirvesha Karina. Anugakadam. Adaya. Abdavyamati Kuda. Patu Nirvesha Karina. Tasanuja baratosto. Kankaniya rograkaya. Abdavyamati kuda. Batu nirveshakani. Asanuja baratosto. Kankaniado kakaraya. Abjavyamati kuda. Batu nirveshakarina. Gavanasto. Kansana no karaya. Abdavyamati kuda. Atani. Okay, word for word. These are the names of the 8 brothers of Kamsa. Tasya, of him. Kamsa, Anujaha, younger. Brataraha, the brothers. Astu, 8. Kanka niya grodairaka adaya. Kanka, niya grodaka, and the others. Abdayavan ran forward to attack. Attikrudahi, Attikrudaha, infuriated. Bartu, to their brother. Nirvesha, repayment of the debt. Haryana, doing. So we're going to read the translation. Before reading the translation, I ask you to come with me to Mathura. Leave behind the thoughts of yesterday, the thoughts of what you have to do later, and come to me with me to Mathura and actually enter into this scene. It's a very intense atmosphere. Kamsa's 8 younger brothers, led by Kanka and Gorodaka, then attacked the lords in a rage, seeking to avenge their brother's death. You can repeat. Kamsa's 8 younger brothers, led by Kanka and Gorodaka, then attacked the lords in a rage, seeking to avenge their brother's death. Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur's commentary. Kamsa's brothers pursued Krishna to absolve themselves of debt to their brother, Nirveshakaryanaha. Instead of Anuja, younger brothers, sometimes Anuga followers is seen. In any case, their natures were similar to Kamsa. So you have Anuja, meaning younger brothers, and Anuga, followers, like being in the same Anugata. But the main point is, they said their natures were similar to Kamsa's. Sanatana Goswami's commentary. Instead of Anuja, younger brothers, sometimes Anuga followers is seen. In any case, their natures were similar to Kamsa's. They attacked Krishna on all sides or faced him, or they attacked without fear, be rushing quickly. So I'm also going to read the next verse because they're both connected. And I'll just read it through myself. Tatai Rabasamas Tamastu Samyatan Rohini Sutaha Aham Padigam Ujyamana Pashum Eva Mirgadipaha. So now Balaram's coming on the scene. As they ran swiftly toward the 2 lords, ready to strike, the son of Rohini slew them with his club, just as a lion easily kills other animals. So we often see Balaram carrying a club. And we know that he was an expert club fighter and had taught many different personalities how to fight with a club. Jiva Goswami. They were quick, Rabbasan, as Kamsa, or showed similar anger to Ta. By divine power, he obtained a pariga, or an elephant tusk looked like a pariga. So all of a sudden, Balaram had a club, which is a pariga, and it says that could have come, it could be the elephant's tusk, or it could have just appeared, but he had a club. They were quick, Rabasan, as Kamsor, or showed similar anger. He raised his club, a weapon made of mushala, pestle, and killed them, since he was a son of Rohini, doing what was pleasing for Krishna's pastimes. I'm going to read that again. He raised his club, a weapon made of mushala, pestle, and killed them, since he was a son of Rohini, doing what was pleasing for Krishna's pastimes. Or he wanted to please Vasudeva and Devaki, his parents. The enemies were like animals, and Balaram was like a lion. They were insignificant. He could kill them easily. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pistaya Bhutale Shrimati Hridayananda Goswami Namane. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pistaya Bhutale Shrimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Namane. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pacharine Nirvishesha Sunyabhare Pashatar Shatarine. Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagapate Gopisha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostate Tapta Kanchan Gaurange Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Suti Devi Prananami Hari Priye Om Gana Timbanandasya Gana Gana Shavakaya Chaksu Militanyana Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. I offer my respectful obeisances unto all the assembled devotees, Vaishnavas, Vaishnavis, unto Srila Prabhupada, unto my spiritual master, unto my Shiksha Gurus, up to our previous acharyas. And I pray to just be an instrument when we give class. It's not that I am giving class, but I am just praying to be an instrument so something will come through me that will be of benefit to everyone assembled. So there are so many very important points. I'm going to start first with speaking of the verse 40. So it begins with Kamsa's brothers. They just rush forward because they want to absolve their debt to their brother. So we know in the traditional Vedic system, and even let's say in the Chinese families, there's a sense of debt to the older brother. So Kamsa is the older brother, and he's just been slain by Krishna. So they feel that they have to take revenge. Just like Hiranyaksha, he was slayed by Vishnu. He certainly did a lot to get himself slayed. But then Hiranyakasipu, he felt he had to take revenge. No. So this is the demonic mentality. Oh, my brother Kamsa, he was a victim of that Vishnu. Not seeing my brother Kamsa, he caused so much distress, so much suffering to my mother, to my father. But no, I have to avenge. I have to do my duty. I'll free myself. So they had no fear. They felt they were just doing their duty. So I was very interested, and I did not find any answer. I was interested in knowing who were these brothers in a previous life. Who were they? We know that Kamsa himself was not actually the son of Ugrasena, that it was Gandharva Drumil who had demonic mentality that had cheated and impregnated his wife. But we've never heard about that, about the brothers. So somehow or others, these were the brothers of Kamsa. And not only were they the brothers of Kamsa, they were actually the uncles of Krishna. They were the uncles of Krishna. They were the brothers of Devaki. Kamsa was the uncle of Krishna. So it's not very Vedic or traditional that you kill an enemy who's a relative, an uncle, even if it appears to be an enemy. But Krishna, he had his duty to perform. He had a very important duty to perform, which had was one of the reasons why he came to this planet, was to rid the earth of its demoniac personalities. Besides coming, the main reason was to enjoy rasa and give those that want rasa with him the opportunity. So this idea of Krishna's reciprocation is also very important here. We see that when Krishna killed Kamsa, he was furious and he was running with anger, and unceremoniously. Kamsa was killed unceremoniously. He was pulled literally by his hair, and he had a crown with jewels, and his crown fell off as he was pulled by his hair. So it was very unceremoniously. It wasn't like on the battlefield. So his brothers were also just enraged. How is my brother, my dear older brother, killed in such a way? And Krishna was so infuriated. He was so infuriated. He had tolerated so much for so many years, not caring for his own safety. He cared for the residents of Vrindavan. How Kamsa had come and caused so much disturbance to the residents of Vrindavan. And now, how Devaki and Vasudev, how they had been imprisoned by Kamsa, by his atrocities, tortured. So he was finally just, I've had it with you. I've had it, And when Kamsa was saying, just kill them, stop the music, was my last verse, stop the music, He was so infuriated that he came. But this is Krishna's love. It's Krishna's love. Because when the gopis are crying out and they're feeling separation from Krishna, when he leaves during the rasa dance and they're crying, Krishna can no longer stay hidden. And he comes and reciprocates in love with the gopis. Why? Because that's the mood of the gopis. They only want to give pleasure to Krishna. They only want to give love to Krishna. So why does Krishna come so angry? Like we know in the Bhagavatam, there's that question. Parikshit asking, well, it seems that Krishna favors the demigods, but not the demons. But no, Krishna's reciprocating equally. Kamsa was just meditating in anger. He was meditating in anger and fear. His whole meditation on Krishna was in anger and fear. So Krishna very kindly reciprocated and came in the mood of anger. All right, this is your mood. I'm reciprocating. Here I am. Just like Bhishma, he was a warrior. And so Krishna came, he got to see Krishna with a wheel in his arm. So it's up to us. How do we want to relate to Krishna? How do we want Krishna to relate to us? Just like here, the example is given that Balaram coming and killing the relatives, it was like a lion coming after animals. So we know a lion, if it's coming after animals, it's ferocious. But if a mother lion is carrying her own cub, she can be carrying her own cub just like a little kitten with love and affection. So Krishna is reciprocating with everybody accordingly. So here we spoke about Kamsa's brothers. They felt it was their duty that they needed to absolve themselves of their debt to the older brother. And according to their duty, they were going to do what they needed to do. Of course, they were also blinded by ignorance. Although Kamsa had been slain right in front of them, Mushik and Shanura had been slain right in front, of everyone. But when they heard what happened to the brother, they came rushing. They might not even have been there. They might have come from somewhere else because it's plain they came rushing in. And so it's also said, it's either the younger brothers, but it's also said Anuga followers. So what Anugata do we want to be in? Right? So we want to be in the right Anugata. We want to be in the right Anugata. And we pray to Srila Prabhupada, let me be in your Anugata. Let me be under your care. This is Prabhupada's given us, Rupanuga Anugata, Rupa Goswami. And we're giving the association of Jiva Goswami, Sanatana Goswami, Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur. This is the Anugata that we want to be in. But these brothers, they were following Kamsa's mentality. So in Spanish, there's a saying, dime que quien andas, yo diga que quien eres. Tell me who you walk with, and I'll tell you who you are. So this also brings the important point about association. If we take good association, we develop good samskaras and good qualities. If we take bad association, then our mentality can become contaminated. So we also spoke about that in great detail on Ram Nomi. It was spoken about because how Kaikeya had taken the association of Mantra, and although she had loved Ram, had treated him just like a son, her mentality was able to be disturbed. Her mentality was able to be changed. And also because of one has some vested interest based on the body. And Mantra was able to play on that. You won't be the favorite king. Your son will be just like nothing. So this family attachment at times can blind our vision to what's actually going on, what's actually truth. We become attached to the family, and then we become blind. And so they had no fear. They just started attacking Krishna everywhere, rushing quickly. So I said, this is quite a scene, you know. There's Krishna, he's just pulled Kamsa, and he wanted to make sure everybody knew that Kamsa had left his body. And so he's pulling Kamsa by his ear. And there are those that are completely thrilled. The demigods are throwing flowers from the heavens. You know, the people in the audience are relieved. You know, tears are coming from the eyes like torrents of rain. But there's also other things going on. There's the wives of Kamsa that are feeling great pain, and his brothers. So there's a mixed assembly going on. And this is a sign for us also. There's always going to be a mixed assembly. And we have to choose where we want to put our consciousness. What world do we want to live in? You know, do we want to live in Krishna's world with Krishna's devotees, or do we want to live in Kamsa's world? So I've been meditating on that a lot. Like, how does our consciousness become covered, which makes it hard for us to engage in hearing and chanting? We become absorbed too much in the news. And then we're thinking friends and enemies and battles. And so better to think about the battles between the demigods and the demons and Krishna being victorious. Because these other battles, there's just no solution. There is no material solution. There's just no material solution. So then there's a very important point that I wanted to bring out here. Okay, so Krishna could have easily taken them on, but here we see that Balaram took his club and kills them. So why did Balaram take the position of killing the brothers? And this is an important point because Krishna likes to be very Vedic and very dharmic, but at times he has to go outside the rules. So if Krishna had to go outside the rule to kill his uncle. And this was not what he would have normally done. It was Devaki's, brother, his uncle, but he had to kill him. But when these brothers came, it was predicted he would kill him. But when the brothers came to slay Krishna, he's like, I'm not going to kill more of my relatives. Balaram is here, and Balaram is the son of Rohini. So these were not actually Balaram's uncles, these brothers, because Rohini, we know that Balaram was shifted from the womb of Devaki to the womb of Rohini, and Rohini is his mother. So one is also stating that, Balaram is the son of Rohini, strong Kshatriya. Balaram has come to protect, Krishna's brother that's there to protect him. And Balaram is not killing his own family members when he kills these brothers because he's not related to them. So Balaram took that service of doing it. And why does Balaram do the things he does? He showed great anger the same way. Here you have the brothers of Kamsa being angry. You have Balaram looking that he's angry. But Balaram's apparent anger had nothing to do at all with anger, with Krodha. But what was his reaction? He just wanted to please Krishna, and he wanted to please Devaki and Vasudeva. He wanted his parents to be happy. They had struggled so much, they had suffered so much. So whatever Balaram does, he does to please Krishna. That's his whole mood, is just to serve. Balaram's whole mood is how to serve. And Balaram is the giver of spiritual strength. So if we pray to Lord Balaram, please give me the strength to be able to serve, Balaram will give us the strength. And we pray to Balaram, please, take away those anartas, the unwanted demoniac desires that are lurking within my heart. So we pray to Balaram for spiritual strength, for guidance, to help us to overcome the anartas within the heart. So the first thing I wanted to do was I wanted to establish, according to scripture, what is the demoniac mentality. From Bhagavad Gita, we can read about that. So this is the Bhagavad Gita 16th chapter. I'm just going to read the English. They believe that to gratify the senses is the prime necessity of human civilization. Thus, until the end of life, their anxiety is immeasurable. Bound by a network of hundreds of desires and absorbed in lust and anger, they secure money by illegal means for sense gratification. The demoniac person thinks, so much wealth do I have today, and I will gain more according to my schemes. So much is mine now, and it will increase in the future. More and more, he is my enemy. I have killed him, and my other enemies will also be killed. I am the Lord of everything. I am the enjoyer. I am perfect, powerful, and happy. I am the richest man, surrounded by aristocratic relatives. There is none so powerful and happy as me. Oops, I lost my spot. Let me just go back. Oops. Okay. This is 13 through 15, 16th chapter. He is my enemy, and I have killed him, and my other enemies will also be killed. I am the Lord of everything. I am the enjoyer. I am perfect, powerful, and happy. I am the richest man, surrounded by aristocratic relatives. There is none so powerful and happy as I am. I shall perform sacrifices. I shall give some charity, and thus I shall rejoice. In this way, such persons are deluded by ignorance. So Kamsa, he was thinking this way. He had great wealth. He was very handsome. You'll see that his wives were very attached to him, loved him very much. He surrounded himself by his brothers, and Kamsa also took bad association. In the beginning, Kamsa, it was by bad association, I think of Chanura, who was it? It was by bad association of some of his demoniac friends that he originally took the throne from Ugrasena and put himself. He didn't just become the king. He had to imprison his father. And I think it was Banasura and one of his other demoniac friends that encouraged him to do that. It was Banasura and Narakasura gave him bad advice. So he had gotten that bad advice. And also, there were different times when Kamsa wanted to give up after the different demons were slain. And then his demoniac associates would tell him, don't give up. They'd give him a pep talk. So he kept taking this bad association and thinking that somehow or other, by his wealth, by his strength, he would overcome this. So here we're seeing in the nutshell verse of what is demoniac mentality. And we've seen it by Kamsa. So we're not just meant to point the finger at Kamsa, but we're meant to look at, what's going on in my own life that's causing all these ants to crawl all over me. What's going on in my own life that's, causing me to behave in ways that might not be favorable for devotional service. And how can I purify myself? Well, there is a solution. The solution is known as the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is the spotless Purana. The Srimad Bhagavatam, it gives us the examples of the different demoniac mentality, and it also gives us the examples of the great saints and great sages that have come to lead the way. So, as we know, coming up on and as I was telling Lita Shakti the other day, one of the most important things about this appearance is not just when Lord Nrsingadev pops out of the out of the tower, like he'll probably do in a play, but it's like, what was Prahlad saying? You know, who is this great devotee Prahlad? And what are his teachings? And how important are these teachings? Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur said that everyone should read and study the teachings of Prahlad hundreds of times. You know, sometimes we might think, oh, I want to jump to the 10th canto. You know, enough of this basic philosophy after 40 years. But until you've ridden your heart, of those Kamsa mentality, how can you hear that which is transcendental? So the Srimad Bhagavatam, canto by canto, is purifying us, allowing us to get a glimpse into Vrindavan. Otherwise, we'll just be on the outskirts. So I wanted to read here a little bit. I don't have much time, but just a little bit of Prahlad's teachings. This is Canto 7, Chapter 5, Verse 11. Prahlad Maharaj replied, "Let me offer my respectful obeisances unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead, whose external energy has created the distinctions of my friend and my enemy by diluting the intelligence of men. Indeed, I am now actually experiencing this, although from authoritative sources." So we know that his father was just besides himself when he asked Prahlad what was the best thing in life, and he started glorifying Shamanam Vishnu, worship of Lord Vishnu. The humble sage, by virtue of true knowledge, sees with equal vision a learned and gentle Brahmana, a cow, an elephant, a dog, and a dog eater. Pandita, those who are equally learned, the equipoised, advanced devotees who have full knowledge of everything, do not see any living entity as an enemy or friend. Instead, with broader vision, they see that everyone is part of Krishna as confirmed by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Divara Swarup Oi Krishna Nityadas. Krishnara Nityadas. Maja Lila 2108. Every living entity being part of the Supreme Lord is meant to serve the Lord, just as every part of the body is meant to serve the whole body. So this is Srila Prabhupada speaking to us in his purport. As servants of the Supreme Lord, all living entities are one, but a Vaishnava, because of his natural humility, addresses every other living entity as Prabhu. A Vaishnava sees other servants to be so advanced that he has much to learn from them. Thus, he accepts all other devotees of the Lord as Prabhu's masters. Although everyone is a servant of the Lord, one Vaishnava servant, because of humility, sees another servant as his master. Understanding of the master begins from understanding of the spiritual master. Yasya prasad bhagava prasado, yasya prasadam nagati gutopi. By the mercy of the spiritual master, one receives a benediction of Krishna. Without the grace of the spiritual master, one not can make any advancement. Sakshadarishan shastra shastir utastatabayeva eva sadbir. Kintu prabhuya priya eva tasya. Vande guru shi charanarabindam. The spiritual master is to be honored as much as the Supreme Lord, because he is the most confidential servant to the Lord. This is acknowledged by all the revealed scriptures and followed by all authorities. So this goes on to explain what is this mentality of friend and enemy. And then Prabhupada goes on to say, as long as one adheres to the philosophy of duality, thinking one person a friend and another an enemy, he should be understood to be in the clutches of Maya. The Mayavadi philosopher who thinks that all living entities are God, and therefore one is also mistaken. No one is equal to God. The servant cannot be equal to the master. According to the Vaishnava philosophy, the master is one and the servants are also one, but the distinction between the master and servant must continue even in the liberated stage. So there's just some very, very important points here that Prahlad Maharaj is saying, what is this friends and enemies, And this is causing so much difficulty. And how do we overcome this? We see every living entity as being a part and parcel in Krishna, and we see ourselves as being the servant of every living entity. I want to just read one more verse. This is 7, 5, 12. When the Supreme Personality of God is pleased with the living entity because of his devotional service, one becomes a pandit and does not make distinction between enemies, friends, and himself. Intelligent, he then thinks, every one of us is an eternal servant of God, and therefore we are not different from one another. So at this point, his teachers have gotten really, really upset because they wanted to teach him about friends and enemy. This is the way of politics. Persons who always think in terms of enemy and friend are unable to ascertain the super soul within themselves, not to speak of them, even such exalted persons as Lord Brahma, who are fully conversant with the Vedic literature, are sometimes bewildered in following the principles of devotional service. The same Supreme Personality of Godhead who has created this situation has certainly given me the intelligence to take the side of your so-called enemy. Because they're saying, who's taught you this? Where did you learn this philosophy from? Has a Vaishnava come in here and polluted his mind? And then and Prahlad just like, he's fully absorbed in devotion on the lotus feet of the Lord. He's never forgetting the Lord for a moment. When he was a young child, sometimes he would cry, and his parents didn't know why is Prahlad crying. He was crying because for a minute he didn't see Krishna. If he didn't see Krishna, he was crying. He was always absorbed in remembering, chanting, remembering all he wanted. And how did it get that way? He had good association. He was born in the womb of the wife of a demon. His DNA was that of Hiranyakasipu, but he was a great devotee of the Lord. And Narada Muni recognized that when the demigods wanted to, kill the baby in the womb, they wanted to abort Prahlad. Narada Muni was like, no, don't do this. There's a great devotee there. And so Prahlad, he's a Mahajan. He's one of the greatest devotees. So we have so much to learn from Prahlad Maharaj. And we don't have time now, as usual, running out of time. I didn't even get to read from Gopal Champu, the exciting slaying of Kamsa. I brought my big book. Actually, there's a minute, this clock. So I encourage, this is just an appetizer. I encourage everyone up until Thursday to read from the 7th canto, read about Prahlad Maharaj. Okay. Okay, where am I? Lost way back in the beginning. This is my problem. I just want to stay in Vrindavan, so my book opens up in Vrindavan. But you have to admit, I actually allowed myself to get absorbed in these killing of Kamsa. Well, we're not going to get to read it, but it's very beautiful. It's very beautiful. It's hiding from me. Oh, here it is. Killing of Kamsa. We'll have to read that another time.
Govinam Adi Purusham bhajami Govindam Adipurusham aham bhajami Govindam Adipurusham aham bhajami Enam Kanvanda Aravindanalaya Tattam Bhagavatam Samasitam Buddha Sundaram Tandar Akom Vidamaniya Vishesha Shobha Govindam Adipurusham Aham bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Aham bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Aham bhajami Andaniya Sasakalem Priya Priti Manti Vasyanti Vikayanti Gira Ananda Maya Sadu Dala Vigrahya Govindam Adipurusham Amaham bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Govindam Adipurusham bhajami Govindam Adipurusham
Machinandana Braju Barunaga Kularanjana Yasomachinandana Braju Barunagara Okularanjana Kana Gopi Paranadana Madana Manohara Gopi Paranadana Madana Manohara Kalya Damona Vidana Kalya Damona Vidana Amalaharinam Amiya Vilasa Amalaharinam Amiya Vilasa Vipina Purandara Navina Nagara Bora Vansiva Vipina Purandara Navina Nagara Bora Vansivadana Subhasa Vipina Purandara Navina Nagara Bora Vansivadana Suvasa Vipin Brajajana Palana Sura Kulanasanam Rajajana Palana Sura Kulanasanam Nanda Godanara Koala Nanda Godanara Koala Govinda Madhava Navanita Tajkara Govinda Madhava Navanita Tajkara Sundarananda Gopala Sundarananda Gopala Jamunatata Chara Gopi Vasanahara Rasarasika Kripamoya Jamunatata Chara Gopi Vasanahara Rasarasika Kripamoya Sri Radha Vallabha Vrindavana Natavara Sri Radha Vallabha Vrindavana Natavara Bhakti Vinoda Sraya Bhakti Vinoda Sraya Yasomati Nandana Brajoparo Nagara Gokularam Janakana Amalaharinam Mamya Vilasa Govinda Madhava Navanita Taskara Sri Radha Vallabha Vrindavana Natavara Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ramo Hare Ramo 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 Hare 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 Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ramo, Hare Ramo, Ramo Ramo, Hare Hare, Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Bo! Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ramo, Hare Ramo, Ramo Ramo, Hare Hare, Hare Bo! Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ramu, Hare Ramu, Ramu Ramu, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ramu, Hare Ramu. Ramo Ramo, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ramo, Hare Ramo, Ramo Ramo, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ramo, Hare Ramo. Ramo Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ramu, Hare Ramu, Ramo Rama, Hare Hare. Hello! Jayo Radha Golokananda Radha Golokananda Radhe. Jayo Radha Golokananda Radha Golokananda Radhe. Jaya Giri Govardhan, Jaya Giri Govardhan, Jaya Giri Govardhan, Jaya Giri Govardhan. Nitai Go Haribo, 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 Haribo. Nitai Go Haribo, 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 Haribo. Prabhupada, 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 Prabhupada.
Known by the nickname Serpent Kalia. These pure holy names of Lord Hari are full of sweet nectarian pastimes. Lord of the 12 forests of Braj, ever youthful, the best of lovers, player of the flute, an excellent dresser, protector of the inhabitants of Braj, destroyer of demoniac dynasties, keeper and tender of Nanda's cows, giver of pleasure to cows, land, and spiritual senses, husband of the goddess of fortune, butter thief, and beautiful little cowherd boy, Nanda Maharaj. Wanderer of the Yamuna riverbanks, thief of the garments of the gopis, enjoyer of the mellows of the rasa dance, very merciful, lover and beloved of Sri Radha, the great dancer of Vrindavan, and the only shelter of Bhaktivinoda Thakur. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur ki jai. Bhakti Nirvapanam Shreya Kairavya Kantandriyanam Swadanam Sarvatma Snapanam Param Vijayate Sri Krishna Sankirtanam Nam Namakari Bahuda Nija Sarva Shaktis Tatrapita Niyamita Smarane Nakala Etadrishita Vakripa Bhagavan Mamapi Dordaiva Midrishami Hajjanina Nuraga Trinadapi Sunichena Tarorapi Sahishuna Amanina Manadena Kirtaniya Sadahari Nadanam Najanam Nasundarim Kavitam Vajagadisha Kamaye Mama Janmani Janmani Ishvare Bhavatad Bhaktirohita Kitwai Ainanda Tanuja Kinkaram Patitam Mam Vishame Bhavam Buddha Kripaya Tavapada Pankaja Stita Duli Shadrashim Vachintaya Nayanam Galashudaraya Varanam Gadgada Rudaya Gira Pulakarnishitam Vabhukada Tavanamagrahane Bhavishyati Yugayatam Nimishena Chakshusha Pravashayatam Shunayatam Jagat Sarvam Govindam Virahename Ashlishyavapadam Radam Nastumam Adarshanam Marma Hatakarotuva Yatatava Vinatolampado Matprananatastusha Eva Napara. Victory to the Sri Krishna Sankirtan, which cleanses the heart of all the dust accumulated for years and extinguishes the fire of conditional life of repeated birth and death. This Sankirtan movement is the prime benediction for humanity at large because it spreads the rays of the benediction moon. It is the life of all transcendental knowledge. It increases the ocean of transcendental bliss and enables us to fully taste the nectar for which we are always anxious. O my Lord, congregational chanting of your holy name alone can render all benediction to living beings, and thus you have hundreds and millions of names like Krishna and Govinda. In these transcendental names, you've invested all your transcendental energies. There are not even hard and fast rules for chanting these names. O my Lord, out of kindness, you enable us to easily approach you by your holy names, but I am so unfortunate that I have no attraction for them. One should chant the holy name of the Lord in a humble state of mind, thinking oneself lower than a straw in the street. One should be more tolerant than a tree, devoid of all sense of false prestige, and should be ready to make all others. In such a state of mind, one can chant the holy name of the Lord constantly. O Almighty Lord, I have no desire to accumulate wealth, nor do I desire beautiful women, nor do I want any number of followers. I only want your causeless devotional service birth after birth. O Son of Maharaj Nanda Krishna, I am your eternal servitor, yet somehow or other I have fallen into the ocean of birth and death. Please pick me up from this ocean of death and place me as one of the atoms at your lotus feet. O my Lord, when will my eyes be decorated with tears of love, flowing constantly when I chant your holy name? When will my voice choke up, and when will the hairs of my body stand on end at the recitation of your name? O Govinda, feeling your separation, I am considering a moment to be like 12 years or more. Tears are flowing from my eyes like torrents of rain, and I am feeling all vacant in the world in your absence. I know no one but Krishna as my Lord, and he shall remain so even if he handles me roughly by his embrace or makes me broken-hearted by not being present before me. He is completely free to do anything and everything, for he is always my worshipful Lord unconditionally. Shri Shastastika ki jai.